Welcome to the Three-Man Weave Show, hosted by SportsbookReview.com. We are the Three-Man Weave. It's Tuesday, and we have another awesome college basketball slate to run through. Before we do, please like and subscribe to SBR Sports Picks. That's the YouTube channel we are currently broadcasting on. And, of course, go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAB for more college basketball content. Jim Root, Matt Cox, how we doing this morning, fellas? Let's go to Jim first for a takeaway from yesterday.
Well, Ky, I am here to petition and politely beg the NCAA to do what it does best and sit on its hands. Please sit on your hands. Let Oklahoma State in the NCAA tournament. Just let that appeal simmer for another month or two. We saw Cade Cunningham and the Cowboys get another overtime win last night against Texas Tech, a team it definitely belongs in the field in terms of resume. We just need to avoid that postseason ban this year. Kick it down the road a year. It's fine. No one will be worried about Oklahoma State next season without Cade Cunningham. I want to see him in March. That's my plea.
Yeah, I think I probably should be the one to talk about Duke, but I won't. I'm hoping Ky brings up Duke and his takeaway.
I will.
Did I read your mind. I hope we don't even talk about that pre-show. We just kind of come off the cup here. Anyway, I want to talk about USC, Mr. McKeon, the Trojans. You know, they've not been a Trojan horse this year, we should probably say. They've completely shattered our expectations. Down Isaiah, the lesser of the two Mobley brothers last night, completely dominated Oregon. The Ducks were scared shitless trying to score inside the arc. I've never seen a team just so timid, and the length and the sheer size of the Trojans has done that. And I think it's been a case all year long. Props to Andy Enfield, a coach who we have not always been the biggest endorser of. He is doing yeoman's work this season out in LA.
He's doing normal work. He has the talent to be this good. He's doing expected work in USC.
Okay.
Yeah, Oregon did look scared. It helped that Taj Edey hit 5 threes in the first half. Oregon won the second half by 8, so it looked better. But, yeah, tough time for the Ducks. I will talk about Duke, Matthew, because they are back into bracket conversations as much as everyone doesn't really want them to be except ESPN. 6-0 now without Jalen Johnson. All right, there's clearly something there. 4 straight covers as well for Duke.
Yes.
This is not just a straight-up thing. This is an against-the-spread thing as well. Duke's 4-0 in the last 4 games. And now they have a Q2 game against Louisville coming up, 2 more Q1 games at GT and UNC. They can easily play into the field way higher than the bubble. So, yep, be on the lookout for Duke. They're probably, climbing back up the totem pole. Same old, Matthew, for your Duke Blue Devils. But enough about Duke. We're not talking about them the rest of the show. We're going to talk about the games today on Tuesday. Kansas at Texas leads us off. A very exciting game. Game of the day, I would call it, Matthew. Texas -2.5, -3. Honestly, feels a little bit low to me. Texas won this first matchup by 25. Yep. Kansas 3 for 23 from 3 in that game. Texas coming off a narrow loss to West Virginia. Who do you like in this one?
I think we've been talking about how KU is sort of the exception to the blue blood troubles the last month or two. They're on a tear right now. I think 6 straight covers, 7-1 in their last 8. We've talked about how good the defense has been. That's been the bedrock of even when they're still soul searching for their identity on offense, the defense has always been there. That's been the case. However, Ky, as you mentioned, the first matchup I think illuminated some serious matchup disadvantages for the Beakers. David McCormick was basically held scoreless from the field, so he had no field goals in that game, had 8 free throws, complete non-factor. The length up front completely took him out of the game. Jim, I just don't trust KU in scoring specifically from the perimeter in this game. I think they need that inside-out balanced attack, and Texas has proven they can take one half of that away. So I think KU really struggles to score here, as well as they've been playing lately.
I think we see a better McCormick today. He's definitely playing better than he was at that time. That game was a little while back. The second half monsoon from deep for Texas in that one really just completely erased any chance of the Jayhawks getting back into it. Texas was 12 for 26 from deep, 46%. Kansas was 3 for 23, 13%. That's pretty huge. Obviously, the quality of those shots matters, but that's just been kind of the Kansas bugaboos. They've been missing good shots, or at least they have been until recently. Now, I'm Matt. I'm kind of trying to figure out this KU surge right now because they haven't really beaten anybody great. They've whooped up on Iowa State twice, Kansas State twice. They got Texas Tech, who is shaky, and they barely skated by in that one. So now they go on the road against a much stiffer test. I wanted to take KU and believe in this renaissance, but it's a stay away for me because I want to see them do it against a team with the athleticism that the Longhorns have.
It's kind of a microcosm. Sorry, Kai. It's a microcosm of like the whole league, right? I think Texas Tech, Texas, Kansas, even West Virginia. We're starting to see some blemishes emerge that you can really pick holes at. I think Oklahoma's really been the exception. They've been lights out from pretty much start to finish here, Kai.
We're being picky. Big 12.
We are being very picky. Yeah, it's really good
conference in basketball.
Hey, but they've
it's
earned
not
that.
better than the Big Ten.
Okay, they've earned that respect, though, Kai. They've earned the respect
second-best
for us
conference in the bat. And
yeah, too.
I'm going to agree. I think Kansas has a hard time with Texas athletes. I think they have enough to combat McCormick, so I agree here. Spread feels low. I'm going to lean towards Texas in this game. Moving on. Florida at Auburn. Auburn's -1. Auburn's really fallen back down to earth as well. Lost 5 of 6, now 5 and 9 in the SEC. Off that Sharif Cooper brief honeymoon period, though he still has been very, very good. Florida, Jim finally snapped back to the winning side of the track after 2 losses. What do you think about this game?
Well, I lean towards Auburn a little bit on the number. I'm concerned that we're seeing a little bit of a Tiger fade with nothing to play for. They're out of the postseason. Potentially, it's just hard to pick out which games they'll get up for at this point. Now, they can play spoiler down the stretch. There's reason to get up, but it's tough to tell. However, I do like home Auburn against a team that is willing to run with them. And Florida this year has been an up-tempo squad. They'll play in transition. They'll press a little bit. I think that opens up the game for Cooper and the Auburn athletes. That is at least appealing from that aspect. But, Florida needs it more in terms of seeding in the NCAA tournament. I'm probably going to stay away here, even though I have the slight lean to Auburn. What about you, Matt?
I really don't like either offense at all. There's just no continuity. There's just no purpose. It's basically, hey, Sharif Cooper, go dribble around for 20 seconds and make something happen. On Florida, we're still trying to figure out who our alpha is. There's no pecking order of where we want a bucket, we got to go here. There's no, I don't know. Mike White still is very much in shambles in terms of how he designs offenses. I have no side take, just too much volatility on both sides there. However, Kai, the Sharif Cooper over train has still been chugging along, 7-1 to the over in their last 8 games.
Yeah. I
know Florida defends. They've had some troubles, I should say, defensively as of late. Do you think that the over still has some value here?
I lean that way for sure. But I also lean Auburn here at home. It's their first home game since February 6th. They've been on the road for quite a while now. That's been a factor for sure. Colin Caston's going to have success for Florida. I think he'll be able to score against Auburn's front line. Yep. And Florida does have length on perimeter. I'm just really into Sharif Cooper. I think he's awesome. Can probably handle that length, even though it is massive difference in terms of his size versus Florida's size. I'll lean short to Auburn in this game. All right, moving on down the rundown here. Georgia Tech at Virginia Tech is next in the ACC. Virginia Tech -2.5, actually getting some bets. And Matt, we're surprised about this because they're out of a shutdown. Haven't played since February 6th. We've seen the market go the other way on these teams. They are 8-3 in the ACC. That's good for third place. And Georgia Tech still has a chance at the tournament. They've won 2 straight, now up to 7-6 in the ACC. Are you surprised at the steam the Hokies are getting?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty much automatic. Teams coming out of COVID have been bet against almost 99-100% of the time so far. This is the one, exception to the rule. As Jim mentioned pre-show, it's got to be because of the injury news related to Jalen Cone, who's supposed to play today. I think he got hurt in the last game pre-shutdown. There's rumors that Tyrese Radford could play, although we're a little bit more skeptical. His is more off the court discipline type stuff. I mean, 2 of probably their top 7 players. Virginia Tech's had some injury issues, some in and out guys of the rotation all season. They're definitely undervalued. Jim, I just can't back them out of the shutdown, given how poorly a lot of these teams have played, especially the first game.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's a tricky matchup to come out of. Like, you're not just facing some vanilla defense where you can kind of get back into a rhythm. Georgia Tech's matchup zone is funky. It's weird. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. So, I trust Mike Young to figure it out. And he's got a smart roster that moves the ball really well. They have shooting. So they have the tools to have success here. But, out of the shutdown is just a little bit nerve-wracking. It's been bet up a little. I'm staying away from this one. Kai, do you have a Georgia Tech lean or anything for you here?
I lean Georgia Tech because, like you said, Jim, this is a very tough team to play out of a shutdown. Georgia Tech's tough defensively. They have very talented guards. But it's Mike Young versus Josh Pastner. We definitely lean towards Mike Young in that matchup. Botek certainly has the guards to handle Georgia Tech's pressure. So being extremely well coached with the steam on the Hokies makes me a little nervous to back Georgia Tech, but I will lean their way plus 2.5.
Worth noting, last year, this game, Virginia Tech scored 0.86 points per possession. They were really befuddled by the zone that Pastern does throw out there. So hopefully Young, second time around, will find a new way, some new scheme to devise to beat it, but did not look pretty in that first go-around.
Yeah, Matt, you mentioned Radford and the shakiness off the court. Mike Young said it's still ongoing. He had like a DUI and a weapons charge, so I would not anticipate him back today, personally.
Right. Double dip. All right, moving on down the rundown. St. Louis at VCU. SLU up to minus 3.5. This one got hammered, and for good reason, guys. There's no Bones Highland tonight for VCU. He is their best player. VCU, man, they look good for an at-large, and then they lost to George Mason. Now their tournament hopes are put in question, especially without Bones in the lineup. But Jim, SLU's coming off a disappointing loss of their own to Dayton, likely taking away their at-large status with not a lot of games left. Do you like the SLU Billigans, our hometown, Matthew Cox, our hometown SLU Billigans tonight?
I lean that way. I didn't want to see it get over 3, but it has. I mean, it started VCU -1. It's all the way over to SLU -3.5. Seems like heading towards -4. So I'm not going to give it out as any official recommendation at the current price, but I do think the Bills get back on track in this one. Without Bones Highland out there to hit shots, to facilitate the offense, to draw attention, I think SLU can get stops. I mean, they were just embarrassing on Friday night. National TV at Dayton, feature game, proved to us you're an at-large team, and they just laid a giant, giant egg. Got doubled up in terms of 2-point percentage, which is awful for their interior play. Yeah. Hassan French should take a look in the mirror, I think. But I think they bounce back in this one. They should dominate the glass against VCU, who's not quite as strong on the interior. It does feel like a SLU win for me, but at the current number, I just don't think it's the right value to give out.
Yeah, I think it's settled right where I made it. I think SLU would be a small favorite, a half-point with Bones Highland. I think you could argue Highland is worth at least 2 points, although I tend to...
I would argue he's worth more.
I'm just very conservative personally on my injury adjustment, Jim. Injuries don't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing at all matters. No player matters. But, Bones is obviously their engine, their catalyst. So I think at 3 to 4, it's what the number should be. So I think the spot edge does give some advantage here to the Billikens. But you got to respect VCU, man. I think they've proven that they're right in that upper top 40, top 50 crop.
Got to respect VCU, but I think Bones Highland is truly important. Joe Kidd in the chat mentioned he's their entire offense. Yeah, how are they going to score against this SLU team without Bones Highland? It takes away most of their perimeter threats. You're not going to score in the paint against SLU, especially a motivated SLU coming off a loss to Dayton, who has become a rival for SLU. Certainly something to that they lost twice to them, a little bit more of a different feel to the game. I do think SLU gets back in this one. So even at -3.5, I'd probably dabble a little bit on that. Would love it at 3. Unfortunately, not there anymore. All right, moving on to Chat Mob questions, round 1. What do we got from Jim Root, the chat czar?
Oh, we've got plenty here, Ky. Jim Bean wants to know about West Virginia at TCU. Matt, I'll kick this one to you. You've been kind of a West Virginia backer most of the year, but the Frogs.
The Horny Frogs, Jim. Yeah, I'm going the other way tonight. West Virginia was lucky to win that last game. It was the second time this year they've come back from, 15, 20 points down?
Yeah, 19.
Miracle comeback. I think we mentioned this last show. I just don't really like what West Virginia's morphed into without Shibwe. They seem to abandon Culver a lot because Huggins doesn't like to play him on defense. So they basically just are a jump shooting team. But when you have McNeil and Sherman and McBride making highly difficult shots, Ky, it's worked. I just think it's been a little too smoke and mirrorsy. I'm going to be on the Frogs tonight in a good spot.
I don't disagree with the bet. I believe in West Virginia. There's something to them getting down in games, but they're still winning these games. They're still incredibly well coached. These shooters are very good. It's not fake shooting that they're doing right now. These are good shooters. Sean McNeil is insane. The last few games, and he's a good shooter. So yeah, at this spread, I do lean TCU.
Matt, it's 7.5 down from 8.5. Is that an official show play? I want to make sure clarify with you.
Yes, I will. That's a show play, Jim. I need some action here. TCU plus 7.5. Thank you for nudging me.
Yep, I'm close. Well, you were like, I would take it, and I was like, is that a show play or not? Yeah. Clarify. I lean hard that way. I'm not gonna do it. Our other bets did not do well yesterday, so we will.
It's ironic.
We will tread lightly. Austin Ross asking about Ole Miss at Mizzou. A couple other people asking about our Tigers, Ky. Do we think they get another win tonight?
Yeah, Jim, I'm leaning their way. Nothing strong in this matchup. I have no lean either way. I'm sorry for the weak answer on this one, guys. I let you down.
I think Mizzou gets the W, but yeah, it spread over 3. It's a little like the SLU thing, where I'm just not super comfortable with it.
You know my policy on Mizzou. I have a hard time backing them because I get so emotional about the games, but I'm encouraged by Ole Miss losing that game to Mississippi State. They're looking human finally.
All right, stay in the SEC. LSU at Georgia. LSU, a team that is really surging right now. They have played a couple really strong games since they got Darius Days back. He's been super efficient, shooting 60% from the field since he returned. That's pretty big. Matt, I think we like the total a little bit in this one.
I think you have to bet the total. I mean, we looked at last game, LSU Auburn, and I think we all said, oh, over. Like, we don't need to be, like pick apart it's like, don't overthink it. It's over. No team plays any transition defense. No team plays any half-court defense, really. Similar boat here in LSU, Georgia. I think Georgia scores predominantly in transition. They can't really score in the half-court, but LSU doesn't really, hustle back on defense that often. And the way their offense is playing, I just think there's a points explosion here. I'll probably be on the over for a little bit, little taste.
Yeah, I lean that way as well. If anything, in this game, I do like the way LSU's been playing. So, heck, 5.5, 5 points. That's not a whole lot in a game that's going to be possibly 80 possessions.
All right, let's go to the Maction day ball here. Akron at Ohio. We've got the Bobcats out of a shutdown, so tread lightly with that. There was a question about whether. Let's see who asked it. Durko Gaming, whether the first half money line was an option with Ohio. I would stay away from a team out of shutdown first half,
especially first half. Yeah, I go the other way. I think just for if you want to. I mean, Ky, I thought we had an Akron backer amongst the two of us. No,
I was not wowing at your comment. I was wowing because this spread's flipped to Akron -1.5. It was Ohio -1.5. I did have it play on Akron as a dog. Out of a shutdown, and I think Akron is the better team here. So, and not a lot of travel. They're both in the state of Ohio, clearly. So I do lean towards the Zips, but -1.5, can't do it. Like to better as a dog.
Yep. All right, we covered SLU VCU. Let's go to the SWAC, Matt. Your league, a place you love to reside. Pine Bluff at Prairie View A&M. The league power got Fate Williams back, so they're full strength. Do you think PV A&M gets it done against Arkansas Peanut Butter?
I believe this is their first time playing Peanut Butter, Jim, or have they played before? I'm blank. I think it's their first meeting. Again, we've talked about how the Peanut Butter zone is a little bit of a riddle to solve for those SWAC teams, just seeing it for the first time.
This is their second time playing. Prairie View won by 17 at Pine Bluff the first game.
Okay, and I think that helps because we just saw Cam Mack turn it over 9 times last game, and I could see maybe not 9 times in this one, but a repeat if it's his first time seeing it. But I think the exposure to it first matchup should help. No value lean here though, Jim. I just think it's probably Prairie View A&M or bust.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel. I just think it's hard to bet against them in conference. They're so much better than their competition. Yeah. JA, a little quick twofer here. High Point at Campbell in the Big South. Ky, Campbell's getting back to full health. They got Jesus Carolero back on the court last time, a big part of their Princeton offense, but he didn't play a ton, so it's hard to totally back them yet. Where do you see this one?
Yeah, fully healthy. He's arguably their most important player, so clearly a big piece for this team. I do lean towards Campbell. Nothing strong, though. High Point's been tough to peg. You get good games, you get bad games for them under Tubby Smith. It's hard to get a good number on them.
All right. The other one, Pacific at San Diego, Matt, the West Coast.
Yep.
Pacific has been strong, solid lately. They got a nice win over Portland over the weekend. Took down a shorthanded Portland team. San Diego, though, a team we think is kind of feisty now that they're full strength, correct?
Yeah, this will be their third game out of this shutdown. They had, I think, over a month or close to a month pause. A very impressive first game out of shutdown, going to Santa Clara. And remember, we saw them compete with Gonzaga for a solid 10 minutes earlier, and they got boat raced in the rematch. I think you have to understand what happened there. I was wanting to take Pacific, but I think the odds makers made a pretty good number on this one, so stay away from me.
Fair. All right, we got a couple more. I guess I'll hit one or two more, Ky, before we go back to the outline. We'll get this 2-pack from Regis Austin. North Alabama at Liberty, the rematch, another day game, early tip. Matthew, are we looking at the dog here after they got kind of run out, especially early on yesterday?
I watched it. Liberty was in fuego, made every shot. Northern Alabama. I thought North Alabama, excuse me, got decent looks, just didn't fall. Obviously, they're in a different class, right? And there's a reason why the spread's 16. But I do think in the rematch, North Alabama, why don't I get Northern Alabama, keeps it close. They're scrappy, Ky. They're athletic. They get to the glass. I'd just be nice to Liberty and make every shot they took. That's what I'm hoping for today.
I won't fade Liberty here, but good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd lean North Alabama small. It's just I think it's an inflated number, and yeah, the shooting numbers from yesterday were majorly split, but I don't have the appetite for it right now. Okay.
Is that it, Jim?
Last question from me, just Austin, the 2-pack. Appalachian State at Georgia State, out of the Sun Belt. Man, I want to love this Appalachian State team, but I was surprised the number was exactly what I made it, so I didn't have any take here, Matt.
Yeah, I might stick with them. I won't make an official show play, but I'm looking at their 2-game sweep at the expense of South Alabama last series as just how good South Alabama's been. So I still think App State's strong. They're well coached. They're now fully healthy. I just got Deshaun. I'm blanking on his name right now. Is it Parker? Parker? Yeah, thank you. Parker back. So that's a big boost for them defensively, Ky. So I lean App State, but no play for me.
All right. Yep. That's it, Ky. Back to you.
Let's go back to the rundown. Here we go. Notre Dame at Louisville. ACC battle. Louisville minus 4.5. The spread has come up, unfortunately, but guess what? I'm still taking it as my best bet. That's right. Louisville minus 4.5 is Ky's best bet. They did just lose by 40 to UNC. Yeah, I'm very aware of that fact before people point that out. They also dropped 20 spots in KenPom as a result. Little undervalued here, in my opinion. Notre Dame also blew a 20-point lead at Syracuse. They could have made the bubble picture incredibly interesting. Probably not going to get there now. Malik Williams is back for Louisville. This is their second game off the shutdown. Hopefully a little bit more prepared for this one. Also, this is basically Louisville's season. They're desperate for a win. They have 0 Q1 wins this year. It's a dire situation. There's no more margin of error for Louisville from a tournament perspective. They'll have a huge advantage in the glass here tonight, a clear talent advantage in my opinion. So, yeah, Louisville minus 4.5, guys, my best bet. I hope they guard the 3, Jim. That's my only ask for the Cardinals. Guard the 3.
Yeah, they need to do that. I'm a little concerned about them against the zone because of how pick and roll reliant they are. But last time they lost by 40 out of a shutdown, they went on the road and beat Pitt by 10. It is at least a team that's shown they can bounce back after a very, very dismal performance. So I certainly lean the Cardinals' way. I'm not going to take it with you. I wish you best of luck on your best bet, though.
Thanks, Jim.
Malik Williams played 17 minutes last game in his debut. I think game 2, a much better effort from him. I've been basically ranting about how important he is, so I think that you'll see his impact start to play through in their number. And yeah, as Ky mentioned, motivational edge here is huge for the Cardinals, so I think they get it done.
Much better at home too, I should add.
Yeah.
Okay, next game, Illinois at Michigan State. Big game here, huge implications for Michigan State's whole season and Illinois' bid for 1 seed. Illini, obviously one of the hottest teams in the country. 7 straight wins, 5-2 against the spread, doing it against the number as well as straight up. And guys, Michigan State though has a chance to make the tournament. It requires almost winning out, but they have 4 more games, including this one, against top 10 KenPom teams, coming off a win against your Hoosiers, Matthew.
That's right.
Do you think the spread's high enough to take Michigan State?
I am going to take Michigan State as an official show play. And I'm sorry, folks. I know we've warned everyone about how this team's not any good.
Yikes.
I saw a few light bulbs flick on in that Indiana game. Aaron Henry, I forgot he was a good basketball player and then remembered it some way along the transition or the journey from Michigan down to Bloomington, was dominant. And I think he's a real weapon. He's a tough matchup for the Illini, who's, if you had to find a weakness, it'd probably be on the wing for them. We've seen this Illini team play down in their competition as well. They're off an awesome effort against Minnesota. You can definitely see sort of, in a trance, Illini here, Jim, tonight. Sometimes the guards make questionable decisions. They sort of get in a lull. And I think Michigan State maybe uses that win over Indiana as a launching pad into another good effort here.
Yeah, my lean on number was towards Michigan State, and I was not pleased to see that. I wasn't really excited, but I do think there are a couple concerns for Michigan State. I'm worried about them turning the ball over because that fuels the Illinois transition attack, and they still haven't figured out the point guard spot. And then TJD just went for 34 against this interior defense. We could see Kofi Coburn have a huge game.
Yep.
That said, I do lean your way. Michigan State seemed to find a nice lineup that worked this weekend. They basically kind of banished Joey Hauser to the bench and played Henry, Langford, Gabe Brown, and Rocket Watts together. 4 guys that can spread it out a little bit and at least put it on the floor, can shoot and stress the defense some, and just stuck a big in the middle, rotating cast of characters inside. But that 4 at least looked better. They got to win in Indiana. I think there's a chance they're competitive, and we start to see Tom Izzo actually improve this team. The thing we've all been waiting for months and months at this point. Ky, what do you got here?
The start to that game was awful. Michigan State looked frankly terrible, and I thought they were going to get blown out by 30. Surprisingly came back. Jim, your point about lineup construction is a good one and a big reason they did win that game. I just don't think they have an answer for Coburn at all. Like, they're going to get trashed inside against him. He could go for 30 and 15. It's absolutely possible. And Illinois' defense has been excellent too, and Michigan State's offense certainly has not been very good. That's concerning to me as well. The spread is about where I'd make it, around 6.5. I just can't touch Sparty here, so I'm going to stay away and hope you win for the show, Matthew.
Thank you. +7. I'm going to lock in.
+7. Okay.
Yeah. Izzo needs to double Kofi. There's no question about that. The Spartan bigs are frail this year.
I don't know if he likes a double team. They were talking about that in the Indiana game, but
as he's
said,
like too much pride, like take your guy one-on-one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, basically. No open threes, which I can get behind a little bit. Okay. Next game, last game on the rundown before best bets in Chat Mob round 2. St. John's at Villanova. Villanova -11. It looks like right now haven't been as dominant this season since coming off shutdown, but the win over UConn was impressive. Looked to be more themselves. The Johnnies were right back in the tournament picture hunt, guys, and they lost to Butler and DePaul. So, yeah, I mean, not so much in that picture anymore. Game 1 here, Jim, was an 11-point Nova win. Johnnies were 10 for 20.
Johnnies win.
Sorry, 11-point St. John's win. Johnnies were 10 for 23 from 3. Villanova, 17 turnovers. Do you think they turn around that effort tonight?
Yeah, I think it's harder to dictate with pressure on the road, and St. John's will see that a little bit. I mean, Colin Gillespie got absolutely embarrassed by Posh Alexander last game. He could not bring the ball up, couldn't dribble it. He was 2 for 12 with 6 turnovers, with maybe the worst game he's played in the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Yep.
I think he plays much better at home here, and a little bit of motivation. I'm gonna go out on a limb, guys, and take Villanova first half -6 in this one.
I like that.
That's the spread I'm seeing out there right now. I think they are angry. They're motivated about a team that, frankly, embarrassed them in the first meeting. So come out, get a strong effort out of them early. Wary of the backdoor late, which is why I'm going first half. But yeah, I'll get a show play on the board before we get to best bets. It's gonna be Nova first half -6.
I like that, Jim. I think there's some 3-point shooting regression on the defensive end coming for Villanova and their favorite teams have shot the ball 37% in conference against them. I think they typically defend well. They're not like a get out and pressure you type team, but I think they usually defend the 3-point line much better than those numbers indicate. But it's a little discouraging that they're shooting it so well themselves, Ky, and they really haven't looked like the Nova that we thought. I mean, obviously they're still in probably in that top 10 group, but certainly looking vulnerable if you want to slap the top 5 label on them.
Yeah, I lean towards Villanova, guys. I think it was just an uncharacteristic game, that first one. No way Villanova has 17 turnovers again in this game. St. John's pressure is awesome, but this is the best ball handling team in the country, and their shooting is going to improve too. So I do lean towards Villanova, like Jim's first half bet. That's a good one, Jim. And Jim, you know what? Keep talking to us because let's go to best bets. And Jim, lay out your best bet for us.
All right, we'll do. This was a game that got mentioned in the chat. We had to gloss over it because I wanted to save it for this, but I'm taking Miami of Ohio on the road at Central Michigan. This is another game where Central Michigan's coming out of a shutdown. They were missing their point guard, Devontae Lane, in their last game pre-shutdown. I like it even if he's in there. That's just a bonus if he's still out. I just think this Miami of Ohio team is better, and they're more put together at this point in the season than Central Michigan, who that shutdown could really be wonky for a team that I don't really trust at this point. Both defenses are bad, so maybe you lean towards the over, but Miami of Ohio's offense is significantly better. So short spread -3.5 as a road favorite. I will take the Red Hawks here.
I like that. I should take that. I've been on Miami the last 3 games. I'm not sure why I'm not on this game, Jim. I'll have to take a closer look. It certainly feels right. Central Michigan cannot defend dribble drive, and Miami's got multiple quick guards who can get in the lane, make stuff happen. I'll keep the rock, Ky.
Keep the mic, Matthew.
I'm crossing my fingers as I refresh the SBR page, and I see mostly -4s for my best bet. The Huskies, Connecticut, headed to Georgetown. I just think this spread's too short, plain and simple. I think this UConn team is, you're getting them in that bubble. quest for the NCAA tournament berth run. Dan Hurley talks about how, optimistic, how encouraged he is by how this team's been playing. James Bouknight returned last game. He had the injury scare, but I have no reason to believe he's not going to play tonight. Even if he gives them 15, 20 minutes, that's a huge boost. And they've proved they can play well without him, with the emergence of Isaiah Jackson and a Cook, whose minutes are still curved, although playing better. I think there's just a good buy low here spot for the Huskies. So that's my best bet. Ky -4. Boom.
I agree.
Andre
Jackson. Sorry, what did I say? Isaiah Jackson.
Isaiah's the Kentucky guy.
Thank you.
I like your side there, Matt. Reminder of my best bet. It was Louisville -4.5. All right, Chat Mob round 2 questions. Jim, we're going to hand it back to you real quick. There is a question about miscalculation of the Oregon bet. It's not a miscalculation. You miss bets sometimes. USC hit 5 threes in a row pretty much to start the game. Oregon just looked like they were spooked from that, got smacked in the mouth, couldn't recover. Would I make that bet again? Yes, I would. And that's kind of how gambling works. Sometimes bets lose. Jim, take it away.
Indeed. All right, Ray Pius asked about Penn State at Nebraska in the Big Ten. Big old revenge spot here after Nebraska basically shoved the dagger into Penn State's very faint at-large hopes, winning at Happy Valley. Short favorite on the road, -5.5 or so. And I just think Nebraska's defensive system works pretty well against Penn State. They can switch a lot of pick and roll, very interchangeable parts. So staying away here, Matt.
Yeah, I should be on Nebraska. Just that revenge angle is why I stayed away here. It's, Nebraska's athleticism is the one thing that can negate Penn State's edge over many teams in the Big Ten, which is just their speed.
They've also been hanging around with teams in the Big Ten lately, and Penn State feels like a winnable game, I think, in their mind. They're at home. So I do lean towards Nebraska as well.
Yeah. Penn State just gave a very big effort at Iowa on Sunday, so could be a little bit of a letdown against a team they view as below them, although there is revenge angle. Yeah. Jay Barry in the MAC. Buffalo at Northern Illinois. Buffalo off that Toledo loss over the weekend, disappointing loss at home. Northern Illinois, bad basketball team, but they've been a little bit feisty lately, especially with Cochran back in the lineup. I still think motivated Buffalo probably wipes them out here.
Yeah, curious if Bruton is playing. Did he play last game for the Buffalo? I know he was kind of
key shooter, Coastal Carolina transfer. Yep.
Yeah, so he's obviously a key piece. However, I have no confidence backing Northern Illinois against a Buffalo team that's incredibly athletic. So I'd actually probably lean their way, even with the high spread.
Yeah, NIU took some money. It opened 13, now down to 11.5 at most places. So clearly some people are starting to buy into the NIU not as bad as many think narrative.
Yep. All right, speaking of not as bad as many think, Matt, Mississippi Valley State. Nick Wynn asking about the Delta Devils on the road at Texas Southern. This has been bet towards Texas Southern. It's a 27 up to 28.5. My number wants me to take the Delta Devils, but
in a bet, baby. Let's do it, Jim. Can you imagine, if we did Kai, join us. Let's make a consensus Delta.
I'm not doing it. Texas Southern just lost at home to Prairie View A&M. They are going to be very, very angry, and the Delta Devils have been blown out by the top of the league. So when they played Prairie View A&M, when they played Southern, they've gotten absolutely destroyed. I think they probably get destroyed here, and I'm going to ignore my number and leave this game alone.
All right, fine. Well,
Texas Southern are nothing for me.
They've been off for 10 days, baby. They've been just eyeing, circling, scouring the scouting report on Texas Southern. I think the boys come out with a big effort. But
this is varsity first freshman squad here.
That's an understatement. It's like middle school, elementary school versus NBA gap. It's not close.
That's not.
All right. Nick Loya, Ryan Abramowitz, multiple others asking about Arizona State and Washington. I do agree that Washington playing zone against Arizona State is the move to make. They're so reliant on dribble penetration. That's huge. However, they could get Marcus Bagley tonight. He's a game time decision, and adding his shooting to the Arizona State offense makes it a lot better than it is without him. So keep an eye on his status. This has been bet up a little bit too. I think I saw from 8 up to 9, maybe even 9.5. Yeah. So I lean towards Arizona State. I just hate backing Washington, but the matchup does have some edges for the Huskies if they play a decent zone.
Yeah, I like to way more at 8. 9.5 I won't be taking for Arizona State.
Yep. The Sun Devils are undervalued. I'm sorry, I do. They hung with USC for most of the way. They pretty much were in a coin flip with UCLA. I know they have injuries, but this team's not quitting. I just think they're going to play hard, and they have enough talent even with those guys out.
All right, SAW Memorial Golf Tournament asking about UMass at Richmond. UMass out of another shutdown. They have had multiple pauses this season, but they should get Trey Mitchell and Noah Fernandes back, 2 key starters that missed the game before shutdown. Trey Mitchell, obviously huge. He's a first-team all-conference level guy. But Richmond seems to be finding things. They're obviously highly motivated to seek an at-large bid. I lean towards the Spiders in this one. It's a tough offense to face coming out of a shutdown.
Yep, yeah. I agree. Lean Richmond. Nothing strong.
Yep. Lean Richmond as well.
All right, Matt, I think we got two more. I'm going to go to you for the first one. Oklahoma at Kansas State. You have been a Purple Cat backer all season.
I have.
Do you think they, as a home dog, do you think the Wildcats are feisty here?
Yeah, I'd have a small taste on them. I've been a selective Wildcat backer. I just want to qualify that.
Take the most games, feels like.
I've been profitable betting on this year. The key is that they're healthy. Nigel Paxton there, DeJuan Gordon, I think, is his third or fourth game back. It's just Oklahoma has been very good this season. I just don't love Oklahoma as a large favorite. If there's one area where they have some slight blemishes, it's on the offensive end and scoring. And K-State's, I think, playing inspired ball. I mean, just winning at TCU, this team clearly has like we're up and coming, we're young, we're getting better. So there's like sort of that rejuvenation momentum, I think, that matters. So I'll take Purple Kittens small here.
Yeah, I lean OU.
Yeah, I do too, Kai. I do too. All right, Billy Exotic, does Bowling Green blow out Eastern Michigan? And I kind of think so. Eastern Michigan looked lost, although they hung around. They played super slow, which has been not their MO this year. They slowed the game down against Kent State, and that kind of kept it within the range of the spread. They could do the same thing here, but Bowling Green is so potent offensively, they should be able to run them off the court.
Yeah, and playing better defense, it's kind of sparked their turnaround after that losing streak.
All right,
yeah, lean their way as well.
Final game, got to hit it because Baylor is back, guys. They're out of shutdown, number 2 team in the entire country. Huge home favorite against Iowa State. Honestly, I didn't knock Baylor at all for shutdown. I think they're going to be just fine. It's a super veteran team. They're just awesome, and they want to just keep showing people, remind them who they are. Like, don't forget about us. Just because we were out for 2.5, 3 weeks, don't forget about us. I think they roll over Iowa State here, personally.
Spread's huge. Can't take it, but I wouldn't take Iowa State either.
Iowa State hung with them for 30-plus minutes last game, so I'm not sure if Iowa State uses that as a confidence booster into this one, but I don't know. It's Baylor. I'm not trying to bet against Baylor.
Yeah, you can see the other side of Baylor being like, wow, we let this team hang around. It's time to
yeah.
I would, if they weren't out of a shutdown, I'd probably recommend Baylor first half, but gonna stay away just because of the shutdown implications. All right, that's it. Wrap it up. SBR Sports Picks is in the chat, making sure you hit the like button. Please do that. Kai, I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Please do hit that like button and subscribe to SBR Sports Picks, the YouTube channel, and go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAB for more college basketball content. March is very soon, like 5 or 6 days away. We're excited. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central for another show.